NetsBoy, so let's hear what he has to say. His name is NetsBoy, he thinks the world is all over when the Nets just can't play.
What up, Net fans? NetsBoy here, bringing your latest your Brooklyn Nets news. So, if you remember, last week I did my top 10 point guards based off of last season, and I said I was going to do my top 10 shooting guards, which I'm doing today. So that's what this video is. This is my top 5 shooting guards based off of last season. Like I mentioned in my previous video, and I'm going to just tell you right now, Kobe Bryant is not on this list. Though, in my personal opinion, he is a top 5 shooting guard going into next season. But last year, he only played like 20-something games. He was hurt most of the year. So, I did not include him in this list. So, Kobe Bryant is not on my top 5 shooting guards, because I'm basing this off of statistics from last season. And that's the way all these top 5s are going to be. They're all based off of how these players played last season. And if they did not play enough games last season to even qualify to be in the count for points or whatever, or regular statistics, I did not include him in this. So, Kobe fans, Kobe is not on this list. However, I would say he is a top 5 shooting guard going into next season because, well, he is. That being said, there are really not a lot of elite shooting guards in the league anymore. I mean, there used to be a time where every team had a great shooting guard. You know, if you just go like back 10 years, you know, when Dwayne Wade was young coming into the league, Vince Carter was there. You know, players along those lines. You know, Allen Houston was considered a great great shooting guard. Players along those sides. And back with, you know, if we really want to go back farther to Michael Jordan, you know. The point guard position has always been that almost key scoring position, and it's kind of evolving now. The league's kind of evolving, but you know, when you think of a shooting guard, you think of really your main scoring threat. Though that's not really the case anymore this year. I mean, now in the league, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still some solid shooting guards in the league, but it's definitely becoming more of a 3-and-D type position, more of a defensive position. Teams are finding more and more players playing that, and a lot of people don't even play traditional 2s anymore. They'll play 2 point guards, or they'll play, you know, a small forward and slide down like Joe Johnson. But you know, there's still, I mean, it used to be the 2 guards were the key. You know, Penny Hardaway. Penny Hardaway was kind of more of a point guard, I guess. But either way, there used to be a lot more exciting shooting guards in the league than there are now. But I still got a top 5. First, my honorable mentions. Look, my honorable mention could be so many people. There are so many solid shooting guards in the league. You can make a case for a lot of people. Victor Oladipo, you know, Joe Johnson, if you want to say that Joe Johnson is a shooting guard. I think he's kind of more of a small forward now. I mean, Tyreek Evans, J.J. Redick, you know, Wesley Matthews, Bradley Beal. There's a lot of guys that you could make an argument for my honorable mention. But I'm going to put Kyle Korver as my honorable mention. 12.1 points per game, 2.6 assists, 4.1 rebounds. Nothing spectacular, but he shot 48% field goal percentage and 49% 3 shooting percentage, and that's the only reason why I have him as my honorable mention. You shoot almost 50% from 3 when you're a player who shoots just really the 3. I mean, yes, Kyle Korver would shoot mid-range jump shots occasionally, but he was primarily a 3 shooter. That's better than Steve Kerr. You know, Steve Kerr, I think, is a career 45 or something like that, 46 or 7% 3 shooter. Korver is nowhere near that, but 49% from 3 is ridiculous. And that's really the only reason why I have him as my honorable mention. Because when you think of shooting guards, you think of shooting. It's in the name. So Kyle Korver, 12 points a game is not incredible, but just how impressive he was last season, knocking down the 3-point shot. I decided to make him my honorable mention. But like I said, honorable mention-wise, you could say almost anyone. There's a lot of solid shooting guards. So, but mine is Kyle Korver. Like I said, 49% from three. God, that's just ridiculous, especially for how many threes the guy took. Number 5 is DeMar DeRozan. Now, DeMar DeRozan at 20.1 points per game, 3.5 assists, 4.6 rebounds. You know, player efficiency rating 17.46. Not that great. Not that bad. Not that great, not that bad. Usually you want to be around the 20s. You know, solid shooting guard, but the downside on him, she shot 41% from the field. That's not good. Anything in the low 40s shooting percentage is not that great. Anything under 40 is terrible. Everything in low 40s is not that great. Did score 21 points per game. Was, kind of the go-to guy in Toronto last season. Him and Kyle Lowry kind of shared duties there. Solid shooting guard, but because of that field goal percentage, I can only have him at number 5. It's just, if he could have had a better percentage, I could put him higher, but in this case, couldn't. So we'll see how he does next season as well. I don't know what the heck is going on with Toronto. That's going to be an interesting year coming up for them next season. But number 4, so he's number 5. Number 4, I got Jimmy Butler. 20 points per game, 3.3 assists, 5.8 rebounds. Play efficiency rating of 21.32. Shot 56% from the field, 37% from 3. 1.8 steals per game. Really good numbers. Jimmy Butler, you could make a case to be number 3, but I have him at number 4 because he just doesn't strike me as the guy I'm going to want. Remember, when I look at these rankings, what I'm trying to say is if I had to pick between these players, this is the order in which I would pick these players for my respective team. I like Jimmy Butler. He's a great defensive player. You could definitely make a case that Jimmy Butler could be as high as number 2. I mean, because like I said, 2 through 4 are right on top of each other, in my opinion. You could definitely make a case. I think Jimmy Butler's offensive inconsistency kind of showed itself towards the end of the year. He was averaging like 22, 23 points per game going into like the last 2 months of the season and kind of dropped to 20. But he's a solid shooting guard. The numbers don't lie. The numbers are very good numbers, and it's definitely, he's a great two-way player, great defensive player. And like I said, some people might have him as high as number 2. I have him number 4 strictly on the fact that his consistency isn't quite as high as I would want it to be, and I have my doubts for Jimmy Butler. But statistically, he's right up there. My number 3 shooting guard is Dwayne Wade. I know a lot of people are going to say, wait, what? But people don't really realize Dwayne Wade had a pretty solid year last year. 21.5 points, 4.8 assists, 7.5 rebounds. Did he really average that many rebounds? Hold on a second. I need to double check that. No, 3.5. That's a 3 on my notes. It looked like a 7. I was going to say he did not average 7.5 rebounds. 3.5 rebounds. Player efficiency rating, 21.44. Shot 47% from the field goal range. I mean, like I said, you really could make a case that Jimmy Butler is better than Dwayne Wade. Part of me wants to put him above Dwayne Wade, especially when you look at Dwayne Wade's turnovers at 3.4. But for me, it's a respect factor. I respect Dwayne Wade too much, and I feel like Jimmy Butler is just Jimmy Butler. But that's definitely something I can see a lot of people arguing with me with, and I won't really, dispute the argument because I can very easily see Jimmy Butler as 3, Dwayne Wade as 4. It's just that Dwayne Wade is such a clutch player, and he's such a winner, and yes, he doesn't always stay healthy, but personally, if I would pick between Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler, I would take Dwayne Wade. Minus how he's constantly getting hurt, but just players wise and overall, I'd take Dwayne Wade over Jimmy Butler. But listen, you want to go out there and you want to make a case that Jimmy Butler should be higher, I'm not going to argue, but in my case, I just like Dwayne Wade better. I just think he's a better overall player, and that's why I have him at number 3. Simple as that. Number 2, I have Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson, 21.7 points per game, 3.9 assists, 2.9 assists, 3.2 rebounds. Player efficiency rating of 20.86. Shot 46% field goal percentage, 44% from three. Look, there's not a lot you can say that's bad about Klay Thompson. I mean, shooting 47% is ridiculous. 46% is ridiculous, and 44% from three is fantastic. Fantastic defensive player, two-way player. The biggest knock I have on Klay Thompson is similar to Jimmy Butler's consistency. Klay Thompson is the streakiest shooter I've ever seen. Like, he's someone who could make almost every single shot one game and then not score, make a single basket the next. But, and this is what I'm trying to say about the weakness of shooting guards. I mean, there was a time you had, like I said, Kobe Bryant, Vince Carter, Dwayne Wade, all in their prime coming out there and being fantastic. Like, that's just like, heck, that was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, you could say Vince Carter, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, they were all top shooting guards in their respective positions. Tracy McGrady, you could argue about 8 years ago, something like that. So, there was just a lot more exciting shooting guards in the league. And when I'm going out there, I'm saying Klay Thompson is the second best at 21, 3 and 3. It's just, those are great numbers, don't get me wrong, but I don't get excited about that. I mean, the shooting guard position used to be like the position. Now it's not. I don't get it. I don't know where these traditional shooting guards are. I mean, I don't know. But, like I said, with Klay Thompson, you can once again, I think you can make an argument he's definitely the second best. You could definitely flip-flop Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler, but I think you agree Klay Thompson with that fantastic field goal percentage and three shooting percentage, and just overall, he was the second highest scoring shooting guard in the league. Great two-way player. He's definitely number two. There's nothing special about him, but number two. But that brings me to my number one shooting guard, which is probably one of the easier decisions to make. I think the only decision that's going to be easier might be my small forward next week. I wonder who's going to be number one there. But James Harden, James Harden is in my Russell Westbrook list of players I despise. James Harden, 27.4 points per game, 7 assists, 5.7 rebounds, fantastic numbers. Shot 44%, solid, 37% from three. Players' efficiency rating, 26.76%. That is ridiculously high. Anything over 25 is unbelievable. So, you can't argue with the numbers, but he's in my Russell Westbrook team players that I despise for one thing and one reason only. 4 turnovers a game. Do you remember last week how I went through this long rant about how turnovers kill? 4 turnovers. You're a shooting guard. Now look, James Harden does have the ball in his hands a lot, but 4 turnovers is just ridiculous, my friend. And I mean, let's be honest, he's still not the best defensive player in the league. I mean, I think his defense has gotten better. I think it's a little unfair that people criticize his defense, but he's not a great defensive player. He can just score, and he can score at the best of them, with the best of them. I think he travels a lot when he goes to the basket. If you remember my Dwight Sucks song, D12 was overrated. I called him James 3 Steps Harden. He kind of seems like he travels. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just overlooking at it, but he takes a lot of strides to the basket, and I don't think they ever call it superstar treatment. But overall, I mean, statistically, you can't deny that he is, the best shooting guard in the league. I just don't like him because he turns the ball over a lot, and I think that he's a little bit of a prima donna too, personal opinion. But yeah, you can't argue with 27, 7, and 5. You can't argue with that, and the efficiency rating is ridiculously high, and I think you all agree James Harden is the best shooting guard in the league. And you could even make a case that he's a top 5 player overall in the NBA. You can make a case for that. That would be interesting to see. But, I mean, he's definitely number one. So, there you have it. My top 5 shooting guards. Honorable mention, Kyle Korver. Number 5, DeMar DeRozan. Number 4, Jimmy Butler. Number 3, Dwayne Wade. Number 2, Klay Thompson. And number 1, James Harden. Let me know what you guys think. Let me think if you think someone else should be on there. Let me think if you think Joe Johnson should be there. No, Joe Johnson's a solid player, but he's not. Let me know if you think Jimmy Butler should be higher, or if you think that maybe Victor Oladipo should be. Not many people commented on my last video. I think a lot of people were weren't ready for another video because I had it was like almost a month and a half since my video prior to that. So maybe my subscribers and viewers didn't realize that I'm back with my last video. So just if you start trying to catch up, see my top 5 point guards from last week. See my top 5 today, obviously shooting guards, and keep your eyes open for next week's top 5 small forwards. That one is going to be interesting. It's always a lot of fun when you talk about the small forwards of the NBA. And keep your eyes out because the season's right around the corner. Preseason games are going to be starting at the end of the month, and I think it's going to be super exciting to see what we got moving forward. So, anyway, that's my top 5 shooting guards. Let me know what you think, and keep your eyes open for more NetsBoy. So until then, this is NetsBoy signing off.